Welcome. Please take a seat. Thank you so much for showing up early today here at the World Wide Wicket company. I appreciate that you showed up so early. Punctuality is a trait that we look for in all of our employees here. Did you have any difficulty finding the place? That's good to hear. Before we get started, did you want any water or coffee? All right, a big Monster drink energy guy. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we actually have a whole cooler full of them on one of the floors here at the World Wide Wicket company. We don't keep every fridge stocked with them, but don't worry, we definitely have some for our employees here in the break rooms. Now, before we proceed, do you have any concerns with this interview being recorded for posterity and future hiring decisions? You do need to sign here. Yeah, and let me get you a pen. I have a pen around here somewhere. Here we go. Okay, got that? Okay, all right. No, you got it. There it goes. It's open now. Do you have any concerns with this interview being recorded? Sign there to verify your consent to being recorded purely for internal and business purposes only. Nothing in this interview can be used externally for promotional purposes without your permission and would require another signature for that to occur. Thank you. All right, and here we go. All right. Sorry if things are a little bit of a mess. My assistant Olivia was trying to reorganize, and so things are not exactly where they're supposed to be, but that's okay. The reason I was having trouble finding pens earlier was that she decided to hide them somewhere. Anyway, that's beside the point. I'm going to be typing down notes and information as well, but in our process of digitizing and going paperless for more detailed and collective comprehensive data purposes, we have been recording our interviews. So before going forward, do you verbally consent to having this interview recorded? Perfect. Thank you. I just needed you to say those words. All right. So a few expectations of the interview. We have an extensive interview process here at the World Wide Wicket company. It normally consists of 2 to 3 interviews here, and the interview process today should not take more than 30 minutes. So do you have any concerns with that time frame? Perfect. And this is an open interview, so if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask any and all questions regarding the position. We want to make sure everything is very clear and concise and understood by both parties here at the World Wide Wicket company. We don't want any confusion or going forward with a doubt of some kind. So if you have questions, please ask questions. I appreciate it. Want to make sure. Yes, exactly that. You don't want to start playing a game without knowing all the rules, especially how the game ends and how the game does. What were you saying? Victory points? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, you got to know all of the victory conditions before you begin playing the game. That way you know how to play the game for just beginning to play a game without knowing the rules, because who wants to play a game without knowing how the game works, right? There's actually games like that you just start playing without knowing the rules. It's called fluxx. Excuse me? Okay, fluxx, Fluxx. Okay, for some reason when you first said that, I did not hear the X sound. I heard more of a CK sound, and it sounded yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we here at the World Wide Wicket company, we really do want professional language at all times, especially in the interview process. So sorry if I was a little taken aback by the term fluxx. It's not a word you hear very often. Fluxx. It's different. You say it's a game? It's a bunch of games. Do you like a series of games? I'm No, I'm not aware of it. But there's like a bunch of different types of fluxx. Okay. Do you combine them together? Are they expansions? Are they additional? Do you put them all together? Okay. So most of them are thematic. Okay. Zombie fluxx, Western fluxx, Star fluxx. Okay. I've never heard the word fluxx really today, until today, and now I think I've heard it more times than I will ever hear it again. Fluxx. Okay. Yeah, that's a word that I know. I understand what it means to be constantly changing and have things in flux, but I've just never really, I don't think I've ever really heard that word before. So that's great. That's awesome. Anyway, a little bit about the company. I'm so sorry. I'm a little taken aback. The fluxx. It's a great word. Okay. I'm going to start off with a little bit of background information about the company. Here at the World Wide Wicket Company, we pride ourselves as being the industry-leading brand of wickets, from manufacturing, distribution, promotion, operations management, and even including research and development. There is no other company that has such a comprehensive process of providing the best wickets, and we are the only company that have full vertical and horizontal practices to capitalize upon our reputation and brand when it comes to corporate efficacy and the environmental impact of wicket production. As I'm sure you are aware, we are trying to hire and fill this position of the mid-level assistant associate production agent manager position. Yes, I have heard that before. We are in the process of possibly changing the name's title, but it's really hard to do that since it is very accurate to what you are doing, since it's not the high level, it's the mid-level, and you're not just the associate production agent manager, you are the assistant to the associate production agent manager. So since it is a very niche, detailed position with lots of areas of growth and expansion and right, like fluxx, lots of different themes that you're working with and lots of different elements and things to focus on, and a lot of different people to report to and negotiate with and inform and make sure are fully involved in all the processes of this position. So the title really is accurate, of the mid-level assistant associate production agent manager position. Right. No, not multi-level, mid-level. This is not a multi-level marketing position. I have heard that before as well. Want to be very clear, this is not a multi-level assistant associate production agent manager position. This is the mid-level assistant associate production agent manager position. But that just implies and gives you lots of understanding that there's plenty of opportunities for growth out of the mid-level. Yes. Right, now we will be going over primarily behavioral and personality-based questions in this interview. This is due to our very diverse and specific nature of our company culture. We truly want to find someone with the compatible business aptitude and mindful approach that can really help endorse and promote the spirit of our company structure that we have, wanting to be replicated and reciprocated among all of our employees. But it really starts with every new addition to the company. We want to make sure they fit in perfectly with the other people that are currently already here in the company. Right. Yes, you want that camaraderie and getting to know each other, to be of one mind. I don't know what that is. So that's another board game? It's a card game. Okay. And you just want to be of one mind. And do you just like say a word and then they have to say the word at the same time? Is that no? You're putting down cards. Do they have like pictures, or is it sort of like a ESP kind of thing? No. Do they have numbers on them? And you want to make sure to put the lower number before the higher number. Okay, that seems... But you can't show them the card. And you can't signal to them what cards you have. You lost me somewhere. Anyway, so is hive mind the same as the mind? They're completely different. Okay, so then what's hive mind? Mm-hmm. No, I don't know what that is. Categories? Is that some made up word? It's another game. Okay. What thing? No, I don't know that game. But what is the name of the game? The name of the game is called the Game of Things. And you just list things? Sort of like categories, but not like categories. Another game that I don't know. Which is similar to Hive Mind. So it seems like all these are kind of games that are the same, but different. Okay. Great. Okay. Uh-huh. No, I don't know what that... Right, okay. I've never played Boulder Dash before. No. I mean, I've played a few board games before, you know, checkers, chess, Monopoly. No, I've heard of Trouble. Chinese checkers, yeah. I played Chinese checkers. What's the one with the little black pieces and the white pieces and they flip? Like they're little discs? Yes. The Shakespeare game. Yeah. Othello. Yeah. Has nothing to do with the Shakespeare play? Honestly, haven't read much Shakespeare either. Okay. So you're saying that there's like a lot of board games, like 20, 30 board games that you play? And when you say board game, do you mean like the full big board and dice and everything, or are you talking about like the fluxx and the mind and the card things? I'm sorry, that's a lot of words. You lost me. Tabletop. So, what does a tabletop game mean? Right. Okay, so just to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, so a tabletop game is any kind of board game or card game or dice game that is played on the top of a table. Versus, isn't that just games in general? Okay, so you prefer tabletop games, that's the term you're saying, versus video games. But you like video games, you just prefer tabletop games in comparison to digital or computer games. Fine. Fine. What do you like about tabletop games that inspires you, intrigues you, and could at all relate to this position? Right, I did notice that on your resume. Your work experience is very hit or miss, but you had a lot of things about being a published game designer. That's great, and you use the skills in your other industries, I'm sure, because of great like strategy and numbers and calculation and stuff like that. Okay. Probability, estimation, calculations. Okay. That's... How many games do you own? Do you mean like a game like you could have a deck of cards and play both Go Fish and what's the other one where you lay down cards? War? I think it's called War. No, that's... You mean like full boxed, bagged games, and you have over 300 games that you play. Well, I mean, well, of course you're not playing 300 different games a day. That there's just not enough time. But the fact that you have played them all, and you that is a... I can't actually imagine like what that would look like. That's pretty much just a game store at that point, right? That's a lot of games. Okay, so this is a thing that you really care about. This is something that you love, and it's who you are, essentially. Okay, I get that. So to you, all life can be sort of broken down into different games, and that games are sort of how you think and process information. So you, by learning these different rules and how they work, it helps you relate to life through these games. Okay. That's great. You know, that is very encouraging, and I think you could fit into this company very well. But we do kind of need to get into some of the questions that I normally ask so that we can more delve into what this means. I am going to let you know, I have not played a lot of board games, so this will be mostly new to me, okay? All right. No, what is the Catan? Settlers of Catan. No, I don't know what that is. Nope, never heard that word before. I do not know where that is. Oh, okay, but isn't it based off of something? Well, that doesn't seem like a good thing. I mean, aren't there people already there? You're right. I'm just not picturing this. What does this Catan thing have to do with the World Wide Wicket company and the mid-level assistant associate protection agent manager position? No, I don't know what that means. Okay, all right, that's fine. So, if you don't mind me getting to some of the interview questions about this position, what interested you about this position, since it has nothing to do in this position in the job description about board games, and seems from most of your work experience and lifelong objectives and goals, it seems like you care about playing board games. What about this position interested you? No, I have not played the Great Down movie. Okay. That seems pretty involved. So you're constantly like moving around the table depending on how well your last hand did, and the higher up in position and placement of victory in the previous round determines where the advantage of starting this next round. Okay. And about this position here at the World Wide Wicket company. I think I get what you're saying, but I might not be understanding at all. Okay, so what about the World Wide Wicket company makes you want to work here? I'm gonna probably just start this off with, I don't know any of the games you're talking about. What's We're All Gonna Die? Okay, again, a lot of terms you're throwing at me. Press your luck game, rolling dice game, you're trying to match things game, you're then relating it to another game that's like this. Okay. What's a Cthulhu? A Cthulhu? Is that some kind of like toy or something? No, I don't listen to a lot of horror podcasts or watch horror movies or read niche science fiction horror stories. No, I don't know anything about this. But you're saying that. How do you spell that? Cthulha. So, yeah, okay. So I am pronouncing it right. It should be Cthulha. Cthulhu. But there, why is it a who? It wouldn't be more of a hue? So like a Cthulhu? No, I don't know why. Okay. This kind of make me a little stressed to my stomach, I think. Okay, so Cthulhu, it's a fictional thing, and it said that it's a what now? Elder sign. A sign of what? Okay, so that relates to like the story of Cthulhu. Okay. And there's a bunch of games about Cthulhu. Okay, and We're All Gonna Die is because of Cthulhu? No. It has nothing to do with this other game. Okay, so it plays similar to this other game that's a Cthulhu game called Elder Sign, where you roll dice to match things. And both of them are cooperative. Okay. And what about the World Wide Wicket company makes you want to work here? No, I don't think I need to know the rules about this game to get the point that you're trying to say that we would be working together cooperatively for a similar goal using different abilities and traits that we have to help us succeed. Right? Could we just say something like that? Right. I did mention our vertical and horizontal business practices and how we've expanded. Yes. So is the Doom that came to Atlantic City sort of like Monopoly? But it's another Cthulhu game. Okay. No, I'm going to definitely say that I haven't heard of Gaia Project. No, I haven't heard of SETI. Well, no, I've heard of SETI. That's the alien thing, right? You are the it's a government enterprise that's designed to look for aliens. Right. I've heard of SETI. But you're not talking about that SETI. You are. But it's a board game. Okay. So it's a board game called SETI. Okay. How did that relate to the Gaia Project? Okay. So then how does that relate to the World Wide Wicket company? Okay. Okay, no, I think I'm getting it. You've called me a what? Okay, so this is another board game. Okay. And just so I'm hearing it correctly, how do you spell Twixt? So Twixt, Twixt. Sort of like the candy, but with a T at the end. Like candy bar, chocolate bar, caramel bar. I don't know what you call it, but Twixt. Okay, and it's another board game. No, just because I've played chess doesn't mean I've played Twixt. Chess is not the same as whatever Twixt you're talking about. Right. Mm-hmm. No, I don't know what that is. So is On Guard another board game? Okay, so that's a card game. Okay. But it's a tabletop game, and it does involve dice. Okay. No, it doesn't involve dice. Okay. So I can already tell that you're very excited and passionate about board games, and that you really love board games, and that's, I don't know quite how to respond to that. I don't know what Twilight Imperium is, but you're saying that you've played a. So okay, I can get from context. It's a board game, and so you have this board game called Twilight Imperium, and you will spend all day playing it. So when you say all day, you mean sort of you've set aside time to get friends over, have meals and everything. But you mentioned a 13-hour game. And you mean to say that you are playing this one board game with, doesn't matter how many people you're playing with, you're playing one board game for 13 hours. Are you playing it like multiple times, or that's one game? One game of this board game takes 13 hours for you to play. That's what you're telling me. You sit around a table. I don't care if it's 3 to 7 other people. You're still essentially there for a full work day plus. This is extremely overtime. This enters into double time pay. And for 13 hours, you're playing this one board game. How does it take 13 hours? Is it like a campaign thing? Are you playing like multiple series of games, and are you like working through a story or something? How does it take 13 hours for this one game? I don't understand. I know Monopoly can go on forever, but usually people just like, as soon as you've gotten all the properties and you can tell who's gonna win because they have hotels and no one else does, it's kind of easy to figure out and pick up, oh, this guy's gonna win. But you're telling me 13 hours playing a board game. I mean, are you actually like building a universe? Because I guess, yeah, building a universe, I guess, could take more than 13 hours to do correctly. I understand that. What I mean to say is that's a long time to play one board game. It can't stay fun the entire time. I mean, most of the time it's probably just watching people play their turn, and then you roll some dice real quick, and then you go grab a snack, and then you come back, right? So you're saying that their turns affect your turns so much that you kind of have to stay involved with what they're doing? No, you lost me. You lost me. There's how many different factions? And you have expansions. You have 2 expansions for this game. What do you mean addition? So what do you, but you said, you keep saying Twilight Imperium 4th edition. You keep specifying that. Does that mean that there were other games called Twilight Imperium before this one? Okay. Using a board game to explain a board game is not going to work with me. I don't know what the board game you're talking about with Lords of Waterdeep and how that, I again, bunch of words here. You have Lords of Waterdeep, you've got Twilight Imperium. I don't know what these words mean, so using them to help explain the other one is not an efficient conversational tactic. We're not communicating here because you've truly lost me. Again, I know what the word civilization means. What you're talking about is a board game called Civilization. So no, I do not know what Civilization means as a board game and how that relates to Twilight Imperium. No clue. Okay. So you're trying to explain Civilization by talking about another Cthulhu game. Cthulhu? Cthulhu. It sounds bad to say. Like you get the word stuck in your throat. Like I feel like I have a lisp trying to say this word. It just doesn't. It's not a nice word to say. It's an unspeakable name. What does that mean? No, I don't need to know about the story. So you have another Cthulhu game called Arkham Horror. Is Arkham a real place? Is this like some spin-off of like the Batman universe? Because of like, doesn't Batman have a whole like Arkham Asylum thing? Okay, I don't care which one came first. I don't care where the name came from. This is, I'm losing the trail of what we're talking about here. Were we talking about Twilight Imperium, a 13-hour board game? Right. Okay. How long has this interview been? This interview is, I don't know if I mentioned early on, this interview is supposed to only be 30 minutes. And I think I've only asked you 2 to 3 questions that are actually related to the job. So do you mind if we skip the rules explanation of how to play Twilight Imperium and move on to another interview question? Okay? Is that all right? Okay, we're gonna move on. I know it seems like you're really excited and passionate about Twilight Imperium. I'm just gonna move on to, what does your ideal job look like? Okay, I'm just gonna say board games and move on. What was the reason for leaving your previous job? Okay, so I can kind of see that that might be a deal breaker for you. Do you feel that that could happen again in this position? Okay, so you've learned and you've grown past then. You've learned maybe to not talk about board games as much in the workplace, then invite people to play a board game, then you destroy them because they make mistakes in the board game and you try to correct them, and then they get upset because it seems like you're playing for them when really you're trying to help them. And then when they don't take your advice and you win, they're upset. I can get the conflicts and the attitudes that possibly made a unhealthy and difficult work environment. I can get that. Ignore that. Don't worry. We have some construction going on in the building. No, I know what it sounds like, but don't worry, it's not that. It's just, well, the World Wide Wicket had a kind of a problem with one of the other floors, and so yeah, it's actually really far away, which is why it sounds so weird. But don't mind the construction. Don't worry about that. You may have to. Where did you park today? Okay, that could be a problem. So you might need to reload when you're trying to. How do I say it? When you're trying to drive out of the World Wide Wicket parking lot, you're going to need to avoid construction. Well, I'm just going to say avoid construction. That's the simplest way to put it. You're also going to need to not use the main entrance and exit when leaving the building because of the construction. So you may have to, you know what? I'm going to have one of our security guards escort you out. Don't worry. Don't be alarmed. It's just for your safety to make sure you avoid the elevators, the stairs, and the construction. Yes, we have a third way of the building. Not going to go into that. That's a whole other thing. In fact, one of the other candidates could not leave that alone, so I'm not going to go over that. Anyway, yeah. So don't worry about the construction or the noises or anything weird things that you hear in the office. It is actually all proprietary information and cannot be disclosed, so please do not report that there is construction going on at the World Wide Wicket Company. We actually will have to have you sign something regarding not disclosing the construction information regarding the World Wide Wicket Company. Whole thing is going on with that. Anyway, what were we talking about? Right, the previous job with the conflicts of the workplace and people not getting along and not having what would you say? That's the phrase. That's exactly what the right way to put it. They weren't good sportsmen. They didn't have good sportsmanship. That they didn't know how to have fun when losing a game, and it's important to know how to enjoy losing as well as in playing to win. There's a balance. You don't want to get so invested in winning that you lose the joy of playing the game, but you also don't want to stop playing the game. You don't want to just say, well, you know what, I can't win, so who cares, and flip the table. You want to get that middle ground of enjoying the game, play, while still trying to do your best. And that I can get behind. You know what, that attitude, that kind of thing, that is a very good corporate fit for the World Wide Wicket Company, of trying to do your best even when losing. That is a great skill to have, to bring to this company. Now, would you consider yourself a risk taker? Right, I kind of walked into that. So Risk is a board game, and yes, you've played Risk. I get that. Okay, but what I mean is, are you someone who likes to take chances and challenges? Okay, are we talking about ducks now? Well, you said quacks, and I'm thinking like Donald Duck, quack, quack. Okay, so right, I assumed it was a board game, but what I'm asking is, what is quacks? Okay, so quacks is a board game based off of fake doctors, essentially making medicinal compounds, and so you are all quacks. Okay, and in this game, you take lots of risks. So when you say press your luck, is that sort of like gambling? Okay, so not gambling, but gambling. No. I understand that you don't want to use the term gambling, but it is that pushing yourself and trying to see how far you can go. Right. Okay. But you wouldn't ever play like poker then, because poker involves money. Oh, well, that's cute. You see, that's a great way to have fun and not lose friends by taking off their money. That's a good way to play poker, just using candy instead of money. That way it's literally taking candy from your friends. Right, versus their bread. That makes sense. Okay, and so you were not one to risk money in any kind of gaming aspect. So you were a magician? Well, okay. I'm sorry, back up. When you say magic cards, you mean like a deck of cards that are marked and so they're used for magic tricks? No. What is MTG? Is that some sort of spin-off of MTV? Okay, an MTG is a TCG. You've lost me again. Is TCG some kind of home renovation thing? Okay, I think I get what you're saying. So you're saying that this is a collectible card game, so a CCG, but it's a trading card game, so it's a TCG, and it's called Magic the Gathering, MTG. Okay, that's great. Initials only help if the person you're talking to knows what all of the initials mean. If you start using initials to talk to someone who doesn't know what you're talking about, it really loses track of the communication flow very quickly. And believe me, I understand. I have a lot of business conversations where I'm talking about the different leadership positions of like the mid-level assistant, associate, production agent, manager position. And then we start using initials for mid-level assistant, associate, production agent, manager position, which breaks down into mid-level assistant, associate, production agent, manager position. So that's the ML. Sorry, I'm trying to try like remember what the word is. Well, because it's the mid-level assistant. Hold on. MLAAPAMP. Mid-level assistant, associate, production agent, manager position. Mid-level assistant, associate, production agent, manager position. Okay, so you have 8 words. MLAAPAMP. Mlapamp. Yeah, Mlapamp. MLAAPAMP. Mlapamp. Mlapamp. That's what it would sound like if we took all of the initials. And so you have the MLAAPAMP. You know, I've never talked about that position before in initials, but yeah, that would be real confusing to talk to our COO about. So I understand talking about initials and anagrams and abbreviations and all that, but you completely lost me with Magic the Gathering. So this is a game, right? And that's Okay, so you're saying that each of these little packs of cards, these little bits of cardboard, cost $4. And in each one, you might only want one of those cards. So you would end up getting a box of these cards. Like, are they a friend's box? No, from the game store, from the distributor. Okay, and a box of these cards would have 36 packs of these cards. So some of these little bits of cardboard that have artwork and drawings and everything that are proprietary to play this game. To play this game, to collect all of them, because that's what you're trying to do, is to catch them all? No. You just want particular ones. Well, can't you just like buy just those cards? They cost how much? So you're saying to play this game competitively, you have to spend how much money on little pieces of cardboard? Okay. So you invest. It's an you're saying that it's an investment, and the price of these cards goes up and down. Okay. But to buy a box of them is 36 packs of $4. You're talking about close to $150 for a box of these cards. And you still might not get the one you're looking for. Okay, and you said that you did this professionally? Like you made money buying cards? No, not. Okay, so playing the game. Okay, so playing the game is entirely different than just buying cards. It's not like you're buying cards as part of the game. So every card does something in the game. Okay. So is your deck the same as the other person's deck? How do you make sure that they have the same cards? But then how does that work? So you each separately make a deck of cards and then battle each other with those. No, I haven't played Smash Up. What's that? Okay, so Smash Up is not a collectible card game. How many expansions of Smash Up? You're saying that there's close to 20 different expansions to this game. Okay, and we're not talking about the MTG Magic the Gathering game anymore. We're talking about an entirely different board game, card game, tabletop game. You understand what I'm trying to say. You don't have to correct me on every little bit. But we have this game called Smash Up. And the premise is you take two things that are unrelated and smash them together to make this peanut butter and jelly sandwich of a deck. Okay. And each of those things have a separate deck. So you smash them up to make a bigger one. Okay, but they're always going to be those things. All the cards in those decks are always going to be. You don't have to buy and add to those. Okay, but the expansions just give you more things. So is it sort of like America and Canada, and you just smash them up together, and you got this real North America kind of thing? Or then you can have like Mexican and South American smash them up. Are they places? Okay, so some of them are historical and some of them are not. Okay, most of them are not historical. Okay. But you've got cowboys. And cowboys are kind of historical. Okay, so it's more of the like spaghetti western cowboy mythos, and it's not like here's Billy the Kid. Okay, so it's got like Disney properties. There's a whole Disney smash up. Okay, but that's different than the regular smash up. They worked with the marketing of Disney to make their own smash up game. Okay. And so you have these, and there's a Marvel one too? Well, I know Marvel got bought out by Disney, but you're saying that there's a separate whole smash up box for the Marvel franchise. No, you lost me. And there's sheep. What are you talking? Okay, hold up, hold up. I do not need you to go over every single faction in this universe. Let's go back to Magic the Gathering. So you spent tons of money making this deck to play games with in tournaments. And to make this deck, you had to buy each an individual card to go into it. Okay, doesn't matter. But you invest a lot of money to get these cards to play this game. And I'm guessing whoever spends the most money on their deck usually wins. Right? Kind of a pay-to-play kind of thing. I'm just saying that that's how some like app games work. And you find your whale and you can really make a lot of money off of that. No, I don't play a lot of video games either, but I hear about some stuff. No, I hadn't heard about Settlers of Catan. That doesn't mean that I'm... Okay, so what you're saying is you spend a lot of money, you then have to enter into a tournament, go to that tournament, win the tournament, and then you make a little bit of the money that you spent on your deck back. But once you have that perfect deck, that excellent strategy, this great winning deck, you're good, right? So you invest a lot of money into this, and then you keep on playing with this against other people, and you continue to capitalize off of that one investment, right? It has longevity and really is worthwhile in the long run. What do you mean cycles? I don't understand. So the professional tournaments only use some of the cards you can't use anymore? Well then, are they still worth anything if you can't use them in tournaments? Okay, but you could use them in other tournaments. But those tournaments don't make as much money. Because the company wants you to always be getting the newest, greatest, bestest cards that are coming out now and not the old ones. So they have a cycle of gameplay use for each card. I don't get it. You've lost me somewhere, but what I'm hearing is that you don't mind spending and investing money into the games that you like to play, as well as 13 hours in a day. So I guess this gets to my question of, do you value time more than money in your personal life? All right. And what motivates you to show up to work every day? See, that's a great answer. I wish everyone had an answer like that. That's great. Now, do you manage being under pressure with a quick deadline? I'm going to assume you're talking about another game. So what's damage report? I don't know what that game is either. Okay, and that's a different game. Okay. But the thing that I'm hearing in just to sort of wrap it up, these three games are all regarding space and spaceships and fixing spaceships and are cooperative and are fast and timed and fun, right? That's what you're saying? Great. Glad to hear that. How do you manage both longer term and short term stress? Okay. And what would you consider your greatest strengths? Look, I'm going to let you know I've already rescheduled 2 interviews. This interview was supposed to only be 30 minutes. It's extended vastly past that. Normally I would wrap it up, but really I'm absolutely fascinated by you. I don't even know for this position, but just hearing you talk is delightful. It's wonderful. It's very unique, and I haven't heard someone kind of say as many unusual words that I don't hear regularly. Well, for example, people don't usually bring up in the same sentence the words guillotine and mysterium. I don't even know what mysterium means, but you just threw it out there in an example, and I'm just completely lost. You just the words you say, it sounds like you're speaking a different language. Suro, Takanoko, Tokaido. These sound like foreign words. They probably are, and I have no idea what they mean. But it's unusual to just hear them so nonchalantly come out of your mouth. It's fascinating. Yes, I am saying that this interview should have ended about 30 minutes ago. Well, it's really hard to wrap up the interview when we never got to the interview. So I'm just trying to move this along a little bit. How do you handle feedback or constructive criticism? I'm sorry, you said a what? Okay, sorry, I misheard that. I thought you were cursing again. An FAQ, frequently asked questions. I know what that is. Yeah. Okay. Errata. So you mean that you take it as something to improve upon and fix for the future purposes and integrate into the gameplay, making essentially new rules as you get feedback and criticism upon your behavior so that you can then improve the next time you play. That's that kind of what you're saying? Okay, I'm getting it. Okay. And what is your 5-year plan? Okay, this is Twilight Imperium again. You're talking about this giant, massive 13-hour game. So you want to play that game 50 times in 5 years. So you mean like 10 times per year. Okay. And that is your what? So when I ask what is your 5-year plan, that is what you're saying is your 5-year plan. Okay. What is your business venture? Oh, sorry, that's the name of a different board game. Okay. Tabletop game. Okay, fine. So is that related to the other space game you're talking about? SETI. Yes, SETI. No. Cosmic Encounter has nothing to do with SETI. Does it have anything to do with Twilight Imperium? It's entirely its own thing. Okay. So what is Wingspan? Well, you said that you want to work and build up your business or your work atmosphere here like you would in a game of Wingspan. What does that mean? I know I'm trying to wrap this up, but I can't just put Wingspan into the notes without having some kind of reference when me or another human resources person is trying to decode the information I have typed down here. What is a Wingspan? It's a game about bird watching? Like watching birds. Like finding birds and... And it's really relaxing. Okay. All right. So I think that kind of answers all my questions for today. Do you have any questions for me? No, I have not. You could kind of guess the answer to that. I have not played a game called Love Letter. Right. No, I haven't. No, I don't know what that means. Okay. You have it with you today. So you're saying this is Love Letter, and you're asking, do I want to play a game? Do I want to play a game of this? This interview's already gone on long enough. I really should actually get back to work and possibly reschedule those other interviews that I've canceled to make time for this. So no, I don't really have time to play this game called Love Letter. No, but thank you. That's very kind. Sure. Why not? You said it's how long? Okay, I can spend spare 5 minutes or so. It's a little longer than that. Okay, that I think that's fine. You want to shuffle? You want me to shuffle? Okay, that's fine. What do you mean that's not the right way to shuffle these? Okay, so you kind of want them all same facing way, and then you want. Okay, I think I've already mixed them up somehow. Okay. But you're saying that the other way would bend the cards too much. Okay. So this isn't your regular set of cards then. You usually play with a different set of cards. Okay, these are already a little damaged, so it's okay. Okay. Well, this is kind of fun, just shuffling cards. It's been a long time since I've done this. Well, this is So I'm shuffling these cards. How do I win? Like how do I win the game? Well, like you said, it's important to know how to play and how to win before you start playing, because you don't just want to learn by beginning. You mentioned that. What's a game changer? No, I don't know what a game changer is. So it's a show. It's a game show. But it's not a game show. It's a comedy show about a game show. It's sort of like Mythic Quest is a comedy show about a video game. Okay, so you have comedians on this game show. So sort of like Whose Line Is It Anyway? Okay, you lost me. So how do we play this game? Okay, so we have this deck of cards, right? Okay, so we have a deck of cards, and I'm supposed to do something with how many cards do I deal to you? Okay, I deal one outside of the game. No one's gonna and I don't. Can I look at it? No. So there's one card completely outside of the game. Okay, and then you get one card, just one card. Okay, and then I get one card. Okay, so I have one card. All right. And what do I do with this card? Oh, did I shuffle those in? I shuffled those in, didn't I? I'm so sorry. I just started shuffling because you told me to shuffle. Okay, so if we end up drawing the reference card, we'll set that aside and draw a new card. Okay. Terribly sorry about that. So do you go first? Okay, so you're going to go first. Okay, so you get another card. Okay, and then you play that card. No, I don't. Go fish. Okay, so since you played a guard and I didn't have the prince, then that means that I get to draw a card? No, that means that's just at the end of your turn. So now I draw a card because it's my turn. And I'm playing one of these cards. So I'm playing the priest, and now I get to look at your hand. Okay? But that doesn't help me at all. Okay, so it's your turn. You draw a card. And now you're going to play your other guard. Okay? The one that I just saw. Yeah. No, I do not have a bishop. Okay. But I don't say go fish. I just then take my turn. Okay. So I draw a card. I don't know what this means, but I'm going to play this handmaid. Okay. So I play handmaid. And so whatever you have, I get to ignore, right? So then you draw a card. Okay. But I get to ignore that because I played handmaiden. Okay. So then it's my turn again. Here's the reference thing. Okay. Okay, so this tells you how many of all the cards that are in the deck. Oh, and that's why we take one out, so I can't just keep count of what cards are there. Okay. So you've played 2 out of the 5 guards. I need to draw another card because I drew the reference. So I'm going to play another priest and look at your hand again. Okay. That's fascinating. All right. Then you draw a card. Okay, so since that's okay, so you get another card because that was a reference. That's another reference card. Okay, draw another card. Okay, and so now you play your handmaid, which is the card that I saw. So I now don't know what you have. and I play a guard, but that doesn't matter because you have a handmaid, so I get to ignore that. There's only one more guard possibly in this deck. Okay, so I have to discard my hand and then draw a new card. Okay. But then it's my turn again? So I have to draw a new card. So I said bishop, didn't I? Right. But it wasn't a bishop. What was it called again? Okay, so I'm going to use my last guard and say you have a baron. Sorry, not bishop, baron. Right. Okay. And since you did, and you're eliminated, what does that mean? It means I won. Okay, okay. That's kind of cool. Okay, so you play one card at a time while holding a card. Your goal is to either eliminate the player or be holding the highest value card in the game, which is the princess. Okay. Yes, I know you said that, but it didn't make sense to me. So then what's the purpose of these little cubes? Because you've got these little cube things. What do you mean it keeps track of how many times you win? You mean that one victory isn't enough? I'm supposed to win how many times? There's a lot of these. So in a 2-player game, we're supposed to keep doing this back and forth until I've won a lot. Okay. No, I think I'm good. I think I'm good today. I'm going to wrap this up and schedule some more, actual productive work interviews. But no, thank you for the gift of playing a card tabletop game. No, this is great. And now I have something to reference with. I never drew the princess. That was the card that was dealt outside, so no one had the prince. Okay. Okay. I get it. I get it. So you can't just count all the cards, and you kind of have to read the player. That's very cool. And you explained the rules perfectly, and they just went right over my head. I just completely misunderstood them, partly because I was busy trying to poorly shuffle cards. Okay. Here we go again. Okay. That's a fun game. Okay, fun little short game. Yeah. Maybe not as short when you have to play and win 6 or 7 times, but that's fun. Okay. Well, thank you again for showing up to this interview. Did you have any other questions besides did I want to play a card tabletop game? Right. No, I don't know what an RPG is. Is that some kind of gun? It's a role-playing game. Okay, and what is a role-playing game mean? Okay. So you mentioned something about 300 board games. Right. Yeah. That seemed a little excessive and a lot. And you I know you didn't mention 300 different game titles today, and believe me, I appreciate that. You've mentioned a lot already, and my brain's sort of already splitting at the seams. But like, do you run a game store, or do you just hang out at game stores all the time? Because you talk about playing these 13-hour board games, and then you have these weekly role-playing games, and then you have all these other card games that you play, and you've invested so much money into the cardboard for this competitive collectible card game. I just feel like there's a lot of games going on. And I just wonder how you find time for all of this in addition to your normal work and overtime and a work schedule. No, that's absolutely wonderful, and I hope to hear more from you in the future. But I do need to take this information to the rest of my hiring committee and party and everything. Again, thank you for playing a game with me. That was very fun. And if you have any other questions for me about the World Wide Wicket company or anything, I know we are so far over our normal interview time frame for today. But thank you again, and please be prepared to just monitor your email or phone calls. You will either get a phone call from us or an email within probably 2 or 3 business days, depending on how the construction is going on. Again, I've already informed the security guard. He was going to come by and he will escort you out. Do not be alarmed. This is a normal thing because of the construction and because the route to the parking lot where you parked today, well, not the parking lot, the parking structure is there's a detour because of the construction, and it's something to do with our water and plumbing and stuff. I don't know, but just you're gonna have to. It's gonna be. You can't take the stairs and the elevators, so just don't worry about. Think of it as a game. Sure, another game I haven't heard of, Talisman. Yeah, sure. You've got a sort of winding round path, and then you have to do challenges to get to the next level, and then there's another windy circuitous path and labyrinth, sure. And then you have sort of a pathway tunnel thing, and you just sort of go through their wormholes, sure. Another game, cool. And then you sort of have to go downstairs and see, there's a lot of different board games you play that are like this, and sort of navigating and exploring and escaping. And so yeah, just have fun enjoying this real life walking tour of a game. Thank you so much again for your time. Have a wonderful week. I hope to hear from you soon. I hope you hear from us soon. Yes. Enjoy, play more games. Bye.